Welcome back, everybody. So, it's 2026. It's a new year. New old things for a new old year. So, I had a gentleman who runs a channel here on YouTube called General Combative Concepts reach out to me on my original videos that got my channel started, which were modifications of the Fulton Military flashlight. And he had done something I had said in those videos. I said, wouldn't it be great if somebody worked up some 3D print files where you could make like a little storage space here in the end to carry some emergency survival supplies, stuff like that. And I had a series where we did on the battery adapter. Well, he went ahead and he made these. And I'm going to read you some excerpts from the letter he sent, because he asked me if I wanted to check out the prints and maybe do a video on them and all that. And I said, sure, send them to me. So, here's some excerpts from that letter. He goes, Dear Mr. Artificer, I was going to throw away my Fulton X991 flashlight until I stumbled upon your video series describing what you guys used to do with them in the military. Now that I see how its cool versatility of having a light like this laying around, it inspired me to create these extended storage compartments. A user by the name H.C. Pookie, funny name, created a flashlight cover, so I took that file, remixed it, modified it in Tinkercad, which is a simple creating program, to create the following. A small end cap with about an inch of storage space, a medium end cap with about 3 inches of internal space, a large end cap with about 5 inches of internal space, an extension piece you can thread to the bottom so you can print a bunch of them to stack one on the other to make as long a piece as you want, and this bulb holder. Now these two are a little different. We're going to get into each one here. To print, he used Polymaker PLA Plus and Army Green, set the printer to 100% infill with the supports. And the files can be found on his Odyssey page or Thingiverse, links in the description. Now, he put in here a few caveats for those to keep in mind who are wishing to use this as a survival kit. For some reason, the file I edited from this makes the inside stringy. I'll show you what he's talking about here. You can see it looks a little funky in there. There's pieces of plastic like cat whiskers in there. That's what he's talking about, it being stringy. Okay? I don't know why, but it doesn't affect the functionality, and you can just cut it out if it really bothers you. To make it waterproof, you definitely will need to source a rubber gasket. I think I got that covered. We will see. So the durability is questionable. I'm sure it'll be fine for waist-high drops here and there, but a 15-foot drop on the concrete will probably crack it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would damage the hell out of the flashlight, too. I'm sure you could wrap duct tape around it to reinforce, otherwise you could print it in ABS, different kind of filament that's harder to print. Alright, he used PLA Plus Army Green to make these. And what I'm not going to read the whole letter here, but what he details in it is that this stuff, is susceptible to sunlight, UV damage, high temperature, stuff like that. And he advises spray painting over this for more durability. So cool. So what we're going to do, first I'm going to give you a look at each one here. There's this guy. It's got a solid bottom. That gives you just a little bit of storage space in there. You can see what he's talking about with the filaments. It's kind of in the threads. So something I can clean up probably with a dental tool and a little bit of patience. And this one is much deeper. As you can see, about finger depth. Okay. And then the Mamba Jamba, which is 5 inches. Then he's got these guys, which is the equivalent of 2 of these rings off a flashlight right here. See? And it's open-ended, this one is. But this, by far so far, just by looking at them, is my favorite one. Solid end, but it's got the threads here, so you can put your end cap on here, and it's open. Not a huge survival space, storage space, but definitely big enough. And then just like a reproduction ring piece, like this guy. Okay. What I'm going to do, we're going to do a lot of our testing. We're going to try to add a gasket, and we're going to try some water submersion tests. We're going to use this one, the short one, so I don't have to have a huge vessel of water here. So let me get a dental tool. Let me start cleaning this up. I'll find an O-ring or gasket that I think should work. I don't think I should have any problem because this has got a nice lip all the way around here, which will help catch that gasket or O-ring and compress it on here, which is what you want. So I'll be right back. Alright, after a little bit of work, I got these threads cleaned up. I got a lot of the stray filament and stuff out of there. That's kind of what all that looks like. Enough on this one for our tests. And same here. Okay, so we remove the bottom compartment on our flashlight. There's our lenses, and these, oops, thread right on there. Pretty stinking cool. God, if that was any longer, I'd feel like Moses carrying a cane around. Alright, we got this guy here. If I can get it lined up, there we go. So we're going to use this one for the immersion test to see if we can waterproof this cavity. I got this O-ring assortment from Harbor Freight, and I'm thinking this one, number 218. I'll give you the specs on it if it works out. But we're going to stretch this one on here. Okay. I'm going to take this guy, thread it on. Look at that. It's compressing that O-ring in that cavity like it's made for it. I mean, I'm going to guess that that is waterproof, but we're going to test it first. And if it works, I'll give you the specs on that O-ring. If not, we will try a different one. Alright, so I got a measuring cup with some water in it. I got my flashlight here with a test piece. Now what I'm going to do to test this and see if this gasket or O-ring works, we are going to put just some regular paper. Just going to kind of ball this up. We're just going to put that in there. So if we get any water in there, that paper is going to obviously show it. Now we're going to compress that O-ring down nice and tight. Okay. This is going to go in the water. And that water just goes over that O-ring. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You can see it's just over the O-ring. Alright. And we're going to leave this for 10 minutes. How's that sound? So we started the timer. I'll bring you back when 10 minutes has elapsed, and we'll see if any water gets inside there. I don't think it will, but that's why we test. All right, we're back. It is just after 10 minutes. We're going to take this guy out. Shake the water off. I'm going to go ahead and use this paper towel to absorb any water here on the outside. All right, let's find out. Did it? I think it's going to be fine. We're going to find out. Bone dry. There's no water in the threads. Yeah, that'll work. Now that is a 218 O-ring. Let me show you and give you the specs here. The 218, right where my thumb is, it's an 1/8 inch, the ring itself is an 1/8 of an inch diameter. It's an 1.25 inch inside diameter and an 1.5 inch outside diameter. And the reason I chose that is because it goes on there very tightly. So when I'm removing this, the O-ring itself is not falling off to where I can lose it. But let's try a different O-ring. Let's try something a little bigger. This is a 221. Or, let's go actually bigger than that. That might be too big. So, I think the biggest in an 1/8 inch diameter that I got is this 221. Now, I think if you go in a, when I say 1/8 inch, I'm talking about the thickness of the O-ring. I think if you go bigger than that, you're going to have a problem. It's not going to seat properly. Okay, so there's that 221 on there. We get this guy on there. And look at that. That's all compressed in there. That's what we want. So, pop this guy off. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna put this paper back in there. Put this guy on. This is a 221 O-ring. Tighten that up really good. I'm going to stick it back in there for another 10 minutes. Okay? So I'll see you in 10. Sorry, got a little sidetracked, had a phone call. It's 11:46. We're just past our 10-minute mark. We're going to go ahead and wipe that down. And we're going to go ahead. I think we ain't going to have any problem at all. I don't see any water in the threads or anything. It has bone dry in there. There's no water on these threads. That O-ring compresses perfectly in there. And that's a 222. Once again. So, let me move all this, and I'm going to give you the specs, because I think any O-ring from a 218 to a 222 is going to work. I'll give you the specs on those. You should be able to source them. So you can see right here, 218, it's 1/8 of an inch diameter of the actual ring, 1.25 inch ID, 1.5 inch OD. Then you can see the specs right below it for the 219 across there. Then we've got the specs here for a 220, a 221, and a 222. Any of those are going to work for a waterproof application. And you should be able to use those specs to either go online and find one, go to a hardware store, or hell, go to your local Harbor Freight, and this is item number, there it is, 91506, which is an O-ring assortment. And you'd have O-rings for life. Now the reason I chose these O-rings that are actually smaller than this diameter, this 222 is a perfect one. It'll actually fit inside here. So you could have a spare O-ring if you wanted to. And that eliminates the rattle of the lenses. Take that O-ring out of there, put this back on there. That's the lenses rattling. So you could have a spare O-ring in there and it would silence the lenses. But the other big reason is, I've covered this before, but I'm going to do it again because I think it's so perfect and pertinent, is when I force that O-ring on there, it's not falling off. The tension of that O-ring keeps it on there because it's just a little bit smaller than this outside diameter. Okay? So what I think I'm going to do now, I want a longer immersion test. So there's our paper, there's everything. We're going to put this back together, tighten this down real good, and I am going to put this water and everything out of the way where the cats can't get to it. Boy, have they been chaotic today, let me tell you. And we are going to set this in there. The water sits about here, above that O-ring. And we're going to leave it for an hour. Okay? And then we're going to come back after an hour. It's almost 5 o'clock, 4:42. And we will come back in an hour, about 5:40-ish, 5:45, and we will see. Let me make sure that's tight, because that's important that this is compressed. And that looks good. Yeah. And we're going to see if any water works its way in there in an hour. So I will see you then. And as you can see, it's 5:45. So it's been an hour. Are we going to have water, or is it going to be dry? Let's find out. Make sure to get all the water off there, because I don't want any sneaking in to ruin our results. Okay. Let's see what we got. That is bone dry. There is no water on the threads of either end. So the water never got past that O-ring. I would say that is the definitive test. We can make these compartments waterproof. Alright. Now I'm going to put this big one on here, and we're going to go outside, everybody, and we're going to do a drop. We're outside. It is 26 degrees Fahrenheit, or -3 degrees Celsius. It's a pretty standard Michigan winter day. I have the Fulton Military flashlight here with the 5-inch storage guy on it. I've got D batteries in here. You can see the light, she's working. And we're going to drop it from waist height on these patio blocks. I cleared off a space, and we're going to see how it handles the impact. I know the cold affects plastic, so we're going to see how this PLA Plus works. That's a pretty solid hit. And I don't see any cracks or anything. Let's do one more. This is about 1 meter or 3 feet. Just a little bit of texturing from the concrete. Everything still works. All right, let's go a little higher. Right here, I'm holding it about chest height. And no brakes. One more at chest height. And we are good. I don't see any breakage or cracks. I see a little bit of texturing there from the concrete. So I would say that held up well. Light still works. Let's go back inside where it's warm. Well, we got to see the compartments do a water test and a drop test. They survived both. So it's final thoughts time. I'm impressed. Like I said at the beginning of this, I don't have that much experience other than what I read online where it comes to 3D printing. So this is my first hands-on experience with some 3D printed parts. Pretty impressive. I think these are great. There's only one thing I would change, and I already talked with the creator about these, and that is, when we were looking at them, I said, this is my favorite one. Has the solid bottom and the threads on the bottom, so you can put your original tail cap on here. Now, these obviously don't have that. You can fit the lenses inside here. They will fit inside there. Let me show you. So you have your lenses, and they will easily fit down in there. So you could put your survival supplies or whatever in here, put these lenses on top, and you could rock it that way. The only reason I don't like that is because, one, I don't want to lose my original tail cap, and two, is this D-ring. And the D-ring has come in useful quite a few times. Go back, watch my other videos where I talk about the military flashlight. You'll hear some of the stuff as I talk about it. So he said he's going to try to remix some of these other containers to have that threaded piece on the end. Currently, what you see here is what's up there. It's 6 different items in the file. I'm going to put a link in the description, but in the past, some links, for some reason, disappear. I'm not saying YouTube's deleting them, but sure makes a person wonder. So, that is the full address that'll take you to the page that has these files on there. So if you have a 3D printer and you want to do them, there it is. Also, you can go to Thingiverse and just type in Fulton. I did it myself, and these files come up. And once again, the creator, he goes by the same name over there, General Combative Concepts, that he does on YouTube. So these files came up, and there were other files. There's some battery adapters. There's quite a few interesting little gadgets people have come up with out there for the old Fulton. So the old girl's still got some life in her yet. And that's all I got to say about that. So if you have a 3D printer, do it. Don't do it. Entirely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint this piece. I have some spray paint here. I think that'll work great. OD green. So maybe next time I'll show you this when it's done. Alright? Everybody have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. Kira. say good night. Thank you.